Hi everybody. I have finally made the time to record this video. It has taken me a good long while to be able to have a minute to record a Q&A video. It's something I wanted to do for a while, but I've been busy. We can say that. I'm sitting here with my little cup of tea. Relax. I'm gonna record this video. I have a lot of questions to go through, so I'm gonna try to get through them as efficiently as possible. So I hope I'll get to answer all of your questions in this video. It cannot be too long, so I'm just gonna get straight to it. Tampa Bay Plants asked, your drawing process for tattoos and mom life, since I'm also a mom of 2 little boys. Drawing process, for the most part, is pretty straightforward. I try to keep my drawing and tattooing time as efficient as possible. For my plant tattoos, it's pretty simple. I just have an iPad and I look up reference material, like photographs of the plants that the person wants, and I arrange them on my iPad, trace it, and essentially all the magic happens while I'm tattooing it. So there I'll add more details, more little illustrative flow and flair, if you will. That's pretty much straightforward. That's my bread and butter. That's my rice and beans. That's what I'm tattooing all the time, my plants. And I have done it in a way where the majority of the flair gets done during the actual tattoo time and not so much homework time, right? Because my personal life is filled with a whole bunch of other stuff, mom life, for example. So I like to just give myself clean, crisp plant stencils, boom, on my iPad, I'm done. And then I get to work, I speak with the client, I add, I take away as it sits on the body, I take a look at it. That's for my rice and beans, like I said, my everyday type of tattooing. When it comes to anything else where it requires like more homework, if you will, like if I'm doing like a girl head or an animal or anything like that, my main times tying into the mom life thing where I draw is really early in the morning during breakfast or in the evening when I put the kids to bed. Kids go to bed at 8 o'clock, so it's still pretty early. I'm not a good like nighttime person. I'm more of like a daytime person, so I try to just do my drawings during breakfast or any time throughout the day that I have like a little 10, 15 minute, 30 minute break. I'm on my iPad and I'm doing the drawing. I'm studying for my tattoos coming up. It's hard to toggle everything, but I wake up at 6 a.m. every single day. So when you start the day early, you have more time in the day, right? And I'm not rushing or staying up late to finish the things that I need to finish. So I hope that sort of answered it. Are you from, Karina Rain asks, are you from Miami or a Miami transplant? And do you see yourself staying here for good? I love Miami. I'm from Miami, born and raised. I really love it. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that's like Miami. That being said, we might be underwater in 20 years and I might be forced to move. But if I can help myself, I'm not gonna move. I love it here way too much. Electric Sun LC says, what other tattoo artists are you inspired by? This is always really something difficult for me to answer because I feel like I have them on my Instagram, I'm looking at them, I'm into it, but I don't really gain my main inspiration from tattooers. I gain it more from traditional art, painting, from nature, from photography, from things like that. So some tattoo artists I really love are Caitlin Greenwood. I really enjoy her aesthetic just because I have a personal place in my heart for like Art Nouveau style work, which is essentially going to be like flat color but more line heavy, more illustrative, and I find that she executes that really well, where she could just have the line work tell you the story, and the shading is actually pretty simple, but the tones are really lovely, and I feel like everything really goes together well, and it's almost like romantic when I look at her tattoos. They're really inspiring to me. So I love her. I also really love, on Instagram, she's Kate Selke or Katie Selke. I love her drawings as well. Also very illustrative, very line heavy. I love really expressive line work, and I find that it's not super prevalent in the tattoo world, although there are many artists out there who do tattoo that way, and those are the ones that really inspire me the most. Nourished Herbals asks, what's your first memorable botanical tattoo? And if you could do any other profession, what would it be? Yes, my first botanical sleeve that I did was on my friend Kaylin, who at the time I was not doing this type of work. She brought a botanical painting art book to the shop, and she said, here, keep this book. I've tagged all the little pages of plants that I'd like tattooed. Can we make a sleeve out of it? And I said, yeah, no problem. You know, I'm pretty much just replicating the botanical prints that are like in the book. It's like what she wanted. But it was that sleeve that I really fell in love and really realized this is just what I want to do. I just want to do botanical work. I just want to do sleeves of plants. I just want to have the shapes and weights of different plants, frame the body differently. I just want to have the focus being on how beautiful and how intricate and how different plants can really be. So yes, Kaylin, it's a really old sleeve that I did. Obviously, it was like my first botanical sleeve, so it was done a few years back. But that was the one. I fell in love. That's it. It was done after that. And if I could do any other profession, there are tons of professions I would love. There's a lot of romanticized professions I have in my mind. You know, like I would love to be the keeper of like a little store, or selling produce at a farmer's market, or working on a farm, or working on a nursery. Like these are all romanticized ideas of different careers I have in my mind. I don't know if once I'm really in it, it's something that could completely fulfill me, because I would need to do art no matter what. But I would definitely find myself in a position where it has to do something with the natural world and something with caring for people. Those are two things that are super important to me and I really, really need for a career. Sarada Craft asked, I have wanted to ask you how you started in tattooing and your journey to get to where you are now, and the same curiosity for your gardening journey. Tattooing was pretty simple. Early 20s, I was like 21 years old. And, you know, I was getting into my 20s. I knew I had to get serious about what my career was going to be. And I had a lot of friends around me who were tattooers. I was getting tattooed. My friends were getting tattooed. And a couple of my friends were like, you know, you should think about this. You know, if you got into tattooing, I would totally get tattooed by you. And as soon as I heard that, something kind of just snapped in my mind. Tattooing really is the perfect career for me. I really feel super blessed, and that I lucked out that this is my career, because it's completely up to me. You get out of it what you put into it, and I'm highly motivated by jobs like that. Yeah, and I'm pretty much just super stubborn, so the minute you tell me that I can't do something, I'm gonna fucking do it. So that's what happened. I just decided one day I'm gonna be a tattooer, and nobody was taking me seriously. Everybody thought I was crazy, and I was like, okay, just you watch. It took me 3 apprenticeships. By the 3rd one, it stuck, and here I am. No one's been able to take that shit away from me. So work hard and get it done. Don't let people stop you or hold you back from the shit you really want to do in your life. So there's that. The gardening journey, oh my god, I was a child that was outside every single day. My family did like plants and they were into plants, but they were never like huge gardening farmer people that like taught me how to do all this stuff. I spent a lot of time in nature. I spent a lot of time outside, playing outside, really connecting with like plants and animals outside, you know, as a young child. And one day I went to school and they taught me that beans are seeds, and if you plant a bean plant will grow, and from that plant will grow seeds too, and you'll have beans again, and the whole cycle will continue. And as soon as I found out that like food, like fruits and vegetables, had seeds that created the plants that created them, my mind was absolutely blown, and I immediately went home. I went through my grandmother's fridge, because I was at my grandmother's house every single day. I took out all her tomatoes, all her cucumbers, her beans, her dried beans from her pantry, every piece of food that I learned that was a seed, and I took it to her backyard and I ripped up all her grass and I dug a hole and I planted all the seeds. And she was super pissed, obviously, that I just tore up all her grass. No rhyme or reason, I didn't ask permission. But in that area, I had tomatoes growing, I had beans growing, I had a whole garden growing. I mean, harvest beans and I would harvest tomatoes and I couldn't believe it. And then I would eat them and think like, I grew this. And ever since then, that's it. I literally have gardened ever since. I have not stopped. It's been inside of me forever. And that's what sparked it. What's there to do after tattooing? Andy says, I need new ways to stalk you. After tattooing, I don't know. I'm doing a lot of things. Listen, I want to do different things, not only tattooing till the day I die, okay? I'm starting to get more into herbal preparations for the public. I'm really getting into making those salves, just sharing herbal knowledge and little homemade goodies with people. It feels super fulfilling and really enriching, and who knows? I really love making my merch. I love drawing and painting and doing my designs. And you know what? The best part about this life, the best part about being an artist is the freedom. I have the freedom in exploring different avenues and different creative outlets. And that to me makes so much of a difference, to feel completely fulfilled in life in that regard. And that's just amazing. Okay, what are your thoughts on preservation of historical seeds and experimental breeding like the 898 squash? Do you feel like there's a responsibility to preserve and explore more variety than what we're used to seeing in the Publix aisle? Or for those of you outside of Florida, like grocery store aisle. That was posted by women in Miami. So, thoughts on preserving historical seeds. I think it's super important. I think the more variety that we have, the better. There needs to be extreme diversity in plants. So I think it's extremely important to really preserve seeds and just the original native plants to the area, like really be respectful of all that. When it comes to food and humans, like, yes, I'm not against the hybridizing of seeds, because like what he referenced here, the breeding, like the 898 squash. The 898 squash was a squash that was specifically created for this chef at this restaurant who wanted like a really tiny butternut squash that was really flavorful and sweet, and he had he wanted it for this particular flavor, and they were able to create a seed that produced a fruit that was exactly how he wanted, right? But humans have been doing that forever, for the beginning of time. That's not something new. I mean, corn as we know it today, that didn't exist back then. Like, corn started to be manipulated by humans 8,000 years ago in Mexico. 8,000, okay? And before that, we were still doing it with other shit. We've been doing it forever. The majority of the produce you see right now in the grocery store is not what it's supposed to be. There is no such thing as the apples how we know them to be today back then, okay? There was no such thing as spinach back then, eggplant back then. Everything has been manipulated, even bananas, watermelon. Something you need to take into consideration too is, as the climate changes, we're gonna need to hybridize plants that can really deal with that. We're gonna need varieties of plants that can do well and still produce a lot of food for people under those circumstances. So we've been doing it forever. We're gonna continue doing it. We're gonna need to keep doing it. That's a different thing. But we should also try to preserve and keep as much of the old historical seeds as possible. Diversity. That's the name of the game. That's what you need in plants. Diversity. It's super important. OS Chamberlain says, definitely anything having to do with books, and especially good nature or gardening ones with beautiful illustrations. Holy shit, I can go on and on about this. This video is already getting to be too long. Let me show you really quick some of the books that I really like that you can check out.